1 minute.
Time. Our third contestant, Jane Strong. Wild and Crazy Girl. Wild and Crazy Girl, Jane Strong.
Remember your first car? What did it look like? Did you have to push it? We all remember the life of our first car. Would that be an autobiography?
Oh, very good, very good.
Mr. Contest Master, fellow Toastmasters, most welcome guests. My first car was a 1961 Ford Galaxy 500. It wasn't new, but it was shiny black with a dark red leather interior. It was a tank. The engine was humongous. It was a V8 and a 400 horsepower. That engine was bigger than a smart car. And that baby could pass everything on the road except gas stations. It got 3 miles to the gallon. But who cares? Back then, gas was only 19 cents. And Daddy paid for it. My dad bought the Galaxy for me, so he didn't have to drive me to Mel's Catfish Diner, where I worked as a waitress. At the diner, I wore a short, white polyester uniform. Now, when I was wearing my short, white polyester uniform, I was a good girl. Just like when I was at school. I paid attention. I got good grades. I didn't even look at boys. I was a
Good girl.
When I was with my parents or my grandmother, I was a
Good girl.
But when I got behind the wheel of that Ford Galaxy, a different Jane emerged. I was not a good girl. I was a wild and crazy girl. One Saturday afternoon, all my girlfriends piled into that car. There were the 3 Debbies, the blonde, she wasn't a true blonde, the brunette and the redhead, there was Marge, Leona, and my little sister, Anne. And that was just the front seat. I don't even remember who was in the back. Following us in another car, a Ford Pinto. If you're under 40, you might have to Google that. For all the guys, there was Redneck Bruce, Tall Skinny Doug, Bucktooth Woody, and my 2 not quite as good looking as their sister brothers. We were racing down Highway 7 past the diner. The girls were in the lead, of course. I put the pedal to the metal. I must have had bazooka bubblegum stuck to my shoe. When I looked up, the car was going 130 miles an hour. I was gummed to the pedal. Do you know how many accidents are caused by gum on the pedal? I don't know either. We were racing down past the diner, as I said, and suddenly I saw some trees. And there was a turnoff past the trees, and I thought, I'll lose those guys. So I slammed on the brakes, skidded for 333 feet, took the 90-degree turn. The car flipped 6.5 times and landed on all fours. Whew, that was a close call. We were out of sight behind the trees. The guys sped on by, going 50 miles an hour, didn't even see us. They're like, where'd the girls go? Where'd the girls go? As we giggled like teenage girls. Matter of fact, we were teenage girls. The blonde Debbie was now in the back seat. What do you think she was doing? Checking her hair and fixing her makeup. She always had to look good for the guys. Where's my little sister, Anna?
Oh no.
Suddenly, the trunk popped open and she jumped out and squealed, "Wow, that was incredible, sis! Can we do it again? Can we do it again? Can we do it again?" Whenever she really liked something, she would say it in triplicate. The next morning, the newspaper headline read, 333 feet, skid marks. Who did it? My dad said to me, "Shane, I am so glad you kids don't drive like that."
Very good.
He knew I was a
Good girl.
He did make sure I took driver's ed. In fact, I took it 6 times. I finally passed after my driver ed teacher's 5th heart attack. But I always remember what Mr. Salt used to say. Jane, to be a good driver, you need patience, alertness, and Geico insurance. Here we are, years from the days of Mel's Catfish Diner. Yeah, I've had a few speeding tickets over the years, 214, and a couple of nights in jail, but no more polyester uniforms anymore.
Very good.
I now have my own successful business. I have to be a
Good girl.
But when I step into my BMW and put the pedal to the metal, the wild and crazy girl is back on the road again. So ladies and gentlemen, start your engines.
Very good.
Mr. Montgomery.